Welcome to Not Like This. Not Like This. From professional wrestling, horror films, and everything in between. Strap in. And now your hosts, Dale Zawada and Jim Snedeker Jr.
Jim, can I start the show with wrestling?
I don't see why not. It's kind of a trend, but go ahead.
I'm excited because AEW it's right around the corner. Their TV is early October. They're gonna have their big pay-per-view next week, All Out in Chicago land area.
So is Symmetra gonna be there?
and like I'm super excited about this pay-per-view because most people are excited because they're big title match. They're gonna have their first champion. You know, it's Jericho versus Hangman Page. A lot of people are excited about that, but I was excited about another big match: Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose. Hype for it. The promo packages, the best thing in wrestling right now. You've got to watch these Omega promos for this build. But then something happened. Jon Moxley
What?
got the MRSA.
Oh shit.
And is out.
So what you're telling me is instead, what does Bruce Pritchard always say? He says, well, you got to go up. You got to replace that person with someone even bigger and more impressive. So it's going to be
Pac.
What?
And you don't even know who that is. Do you know who Pac is?
X-Pac, yeah, I know. But I didn't think he's even in wrestling shape.
It's like, I know people like nostalgia, but really? Pac is Adrian Neville from WWE, little guy. He's like an elf, but he's fucking jacked. And he's real good.
Wait, he is Aaron Neville?
Aaron Neville. What did I say?
No, that's who that is. Aaron Neville. Is he like that guy?
That's him.
He's
same guy.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know his indie name. Like Hangman Jackson, who's that guy? Like who's he really?
Hangman Page. He's always been Hangman Page. So don't ask me his first name because I can't remember it, but I know it's Hangman Page. Okay,
so he's never been a guy I would have seen.
No. He's got one really cool move where he does
just one? That'll be a good one.
It's pretty cool. He on the outside apron, you know, he kind of springboard, like front flip, lands on his feet, and uses that momentum to hit a clothesline. And it's a really neat move. And his name is Hangman Page. And I hope Jericho defeats him
in the main event.
The title. Yeah, main event. They like him. He's one of the indie darlings. Seems like a fine young man. Fine young man.
Is he actually young? Like how?
I'm sure he's like 36.
Okay. Well,
but Jim, so big the title match, right? So Jericho versus this guy nobody really knows except for the marks. Jericho's got to win the title, right?
Please.
It's got to be Jericho. You can't. I know you like Hangman Page, but he can't be your guy.
Is he the babyface?
He's definitely the babyface.
Damn. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I would say going into television, have Jericho be your champion and then build from there, right?
Yeah, and he's a name, so for business reasons it makes sense.
Oh, sure. A name. Jesus Christ, one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. For booking reasons, it makes sense. I really don't think he's ready for it.
Like, yeah. I would argue that's got to be the biggest name of anyone they could get that still wrestles. You know, like Austin doesn't wrestle, but I mean, who else can you get that's from that era that still gets in the ring?
They got Bret Hart to hold up the title awkwardly that one time.
That can wrestle. If it touches his head, he'll die.
This is true. Fuck yeah, that's probably the biggest they'll be able to get for a while. Everyone else is going to be self-made, indie-made. Yeah.
Here's where I'll be the controversial ESPN analyst guy that says things, and people are just like, he's just being an asshole. I would even argue that, as far as wrestling is concerned, Jericho is right there with The Rock. Now, The Rock is a huge star internationally and had maybe higher highs for sure, and he's a giant movie star. But as far as as far as classic matches and a long run and being one of the top guys that people know that like wrestling, that actually watch wrestling, he's right up there with The Rock for sure.
He's up there.
Great promos, great matches. So yeah, he's got to be the champ, and then use that as a springboard into introducing your TV people to this Hangman Cassidy. What's his name?
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page.
Hangman Page, brother.
You know, I was
And
talking
Kenny
to our
Omega's
friend. Go ahead.
Omega's acting like a heel with these promos, and I love that. I love heel Kenny Omega.
He always kind of acts like a heel.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just like tweener stuff, but I much prefer that, where he's just kind of snarky and just a piece of shit. It's like, yeah, it's like you're not wrong, you're just being an asshole.
I called someone a tweener that I work with. This teacher friend, and I was telling them, you know, like the cool teachers that have everything together see you as like a cool together teacher, and then the teachers that are just like, fuck, they see you as a teacher that they can sort of just, fuck. I said, you're a tweener. You fit in with both crowds. They didn't appreciate it.
They didn't appreciate it.
No,
but
they
it does
just
sound
kept.
like an insult.
They just kept taking it like an insult. I said, no, it means that you are a person of all the people. Everyone. I said it means everyone sees themselves in you, and that's in a good way. Like, oh, this person's one of us. No matter where they're coming from. They
I don't
took
know
it as an insult, though.
if being a tweener in wrestling is a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't
like right now. Kenny Omega's doing the tweener thing, and I love it. But I think most of the time, it's just kind of confusing. It's like, where are you on the spectrum?
Here's how I honestly feel about it when people refer to it in wrestling. You're either people enjoy hating you or people enjoy cheering you. And that's pretty... If you're a tweener, it's like... I would say that Kenny Omega, if you listen to the crowd reaction, it's giant cheers, right? It's not like boo or like a half-hearted response. So it's sort of like, are you over or not?
Yeah.
And I always feel like people are like, well, he's a tweener, because they're not really over. They're just sort of like, oh, we're gonna like him, but we're not supposed to. But like Austin tried to be a heel, like really hard,
Exactly.
And then they were just like, no, we love you.
So does being a tweener mean that you're bad at your job? Because you're a heel getting face responses or a face getting heel responses, kind of putting you in that middle ground. So you're not doing your job.
I would never dare pretend to be able to tell a wrestler if they're doing a good job or a bad job, because that's not my thing, right? I'm not a wrestler. And I don't know. I don't mind sports analysts because they fill a role and they're allowed to critique things. But having never wrestled or trained to wrestle or anything, I don't know if I would ever go that far and say they're bad at their job, but kinda, maybe.
I think a little at the foundation, yeah. But you can still build off that foundation of we're not exactly hitting this how it's supposed to go, but we can still make the most of it. Lord knows Steve Austin made the most of it.
God damn.
Made the most of it.
Now, when you look at Hogan and his big run in the 80s and early 90s, I know he was a heel before at other points, but like that whole big run was all babyface stuff. And Austin was like, people just were like, yeah, you know what? this guy's a badass. I like this. I like his attitude. And he had to resist it and then blew up into like the biggest of all time.
Yeah,
which
then
is
then
crazy.
they just booked him like a face, and it was fine.
Yeah, but he didn't change. He still said the same things the same way, and it's
He
interesting.
was still chasing, doing the chase, always getting thwarted by McMahon, and they're going at it. There was the face chase,
Like,
good old fashioned.
I feel like Ric Flair was always a heel, always, and there were just periods of, we'll book him to be the baby face, but he never was like. He was never not a jet flying, wheeling, dealing, having sexual relations with your wife. He was never not that guy.
Going.
Yeah, right. They didn't like change his persona ever. It was just sort of a like, I'm trying to think pre NWO, how often was he a babyface in WCW?
There were some times, yeah, those were NWO times though. I want to say him and Lex Luger, like Luger and Sting were involved in some fashion, but those might have been NWO times.
Well, I know like the 80s Luger and Sting things, they were the baby faces. There's no way Surfer Sting is not babyface.
Right, but there's that one famous clip of Ric Flair tagging with Sting against the Horsemen, and of course Flair turns on Sting. But to turn on him means at that moment you're a face. So
right, so maybe for like a short angle
for 10 minutes. Ric Flair.
But I'm sure he still did Ric Flair shit.
Yeah.
So and he's always been Ric Flair, and then over time, people just appreciate that that they're watching a living legend, and then it's hard.
Isn't that fucking nuts? Because we just talked about Steve Austin. You're gonna be a heel until you're not, and then you're gonna fight heels. Ric Flair, women loved him, all that kind of shit. He was super cool, but he fought baby faces.
Yep.
And like Ricky Dragon Steamboat, like that's a tough gig.
And people were
because
still
people
loving him.
and they still did cheer Steamboat. Like in those matches, they would cheer him, and Flair would get a lot of boos, some cheers, of course. But like that's a hard fucking gig. Hey, you're gonna wrestle Ric Flair, and you're gonna be the babyface. They're gonna cheer for you. I don't think they will. Unless you're fucking Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
He got a fresh heel run in WWF because those a lot of those people knew who Ric Flair was, but if you were just a casual little kid watching wrestling, you're just like, who's this guy? It's a white hairs old man.
Yeah.
Get this fucking guy here. So I think it was easier for him to be a heel again there. And then the NWO, it sort of made him a baby face, but then therein lies the issue we're talking about. The NWO, where they were supposed to be heels,
just repeats.
And they kind of were, but people loved him. It's hard. But when you're a tweener, I feel like what that really means is you're not reading the tea leaves. Like you're not okay, well, if this is working, then I'm going to push in that direction even harder. Or you're not like, oh, I'm going to make a drastic turn and get them against me to put this other guy over. I feel like Tweener's just sort of soft. I don't know.
You need them. You need them around though. They're just a guy.
I always feel like there were people that were neither, like jobbers. Jobbers were sort of like, I don't know. They were just like
to be a tweener, it implies you have a fucking role here.
Right. But jobbers, it was like, well, Bret Hart will squash the same guy that Yokozuna squashes. So is he a baby face? He's nothing. He's not. He's neither one. He's a putty. He's a putty for the Power Rangers show. Just blah, 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 squash. He doesn't have a role.
Speaking of WCW, AEW signed a WCW personality. Jim, you want to take a guess? They're going to have an
Okay.
on-air role, it seems.
Give me two hints that aren't going to just give it away. Just like a WCW personality.
Not a wrestler.
Like what
not a
era? Well,
wrestler.
yeah, I figured not a wrestler, but like what era?
NWO era.
Okay,
NWO
okay.
era.
So that's one hint. The other hint, was this person on camera? Like, was this person an on-camera personality in WCW?
Yes.
Okay. I need one more. Did they also have a little bit of time in WWF, like in the same role post WCW?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. We'll talk about that.
The Professor Mike Tenay.
No, but who sits next to him?
Larry Zbyszko.
No, although that's a really good guess too. Who's left?
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Who's left?
Who did Shotgun Saturday Night with Bobby the Brain Heenan?
God,
Mongo.
For this man.
Mongo McMichael.
Who's left?
Tony
It's not
Schiavone.
Mark Madden. It's Tony Schiavone. Schiavone's back, and
I hope we get new Schiavone. Podcasting Schiavone is entertaining.
He's just like, he doesn't give a fuck a little bit.
Nope. He doesn't. You're right. He doesn't give a fuck a little bit.
He's just like, fucking wrestling still. Fuck all you people, but whatever. I don't know if he's going to be an announcer. JD was saying that's the case. It's going to be Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Excalibur as their announce team. You're not. There's so many indie guys you don't know.
I don't. Is he a sword? Is this like Roger Rabbit? He's just like a talking sword?
No.
It's simply taboo.
Oh, he's former wrestler, still wrestles a little bit. Knowledgeable guy, should do well in the booth. It's the Jim Ross and Schiavone part there. I'm like, Jim Ross sucks.
In a 3-man booth?
Yeah, 3-man booth.
Well, Schiavone, most of his time
with.
was in a 3-man booth, probably, right?
Yeah.
Here's something that I've come around on since I've grown up. When we were young, I did not like Tony Schiavone at all. I've come to appreciate him a lot more these days. Mm-hmm. Now, he didn't seem like a wrestling guy.
Nope.
He seemed like a sports play-by-play guy, which now I kind of appreciate that. You know, like they're trying to, hey, this is a real thing. You know, that's
probably why they're getting him.
Call the match like a real event. Did he know the moves? I don't know. Did he know all the Vianos? I'm not sure, but I miss him now. I'll be honest, I miss him now.
We've talked about that before. He had good enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You know, he would get you a little hyped. Holy shit, Macho Man! What is he doing? Blah blah. Little that 80s Vince.
It's a over.
1, 2, no.
I love when he would do the yes, no. 1, 2, yes, no. Hold on, maneuver.
Fuck yeah.
Our friend JD, he used to, I don't know if you guys may remember, we used to do a wrestling podcast with JD. He used to edit the show too. He'd do like guest spots. But he sent a clip of Vince McMahon calling him part of a match and said he sounds exactly like Grandpa Simpson, and I can't unhear it. I can't. He sounds exactly like him. Just like where he's running out of air at the end and just goes higher.
He's just fading away.
Yeah.
Say about that fade out.
So we got that going for us. Why? You know what?
I can't wait to get on Overwatch now because I'm gonna be like, I need a shield.
One, two, yes, no. Now, when they've done these throwback Raws, do they have him on commentary? Vince?
They did it once. They don't do it every time they do the throwbacks, but they did it once. with
How
him
did
and
I miss
Ventura.
it? With Ventura?
Yeah.
That's dumb. I mean, I get it because
Mhm.
he's a big name and stuff, and like is he ever
Please.
going to come back? No, he won't. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. But put him in there with Jerry Lawler or some like the Raw team.
Well, they used to throw. They used to announce together back in the day, so it made sense.
They didn't do a ton together, Vince and him. They did some, but like they never did Raw.
Raw? Yeah, I don't think they did Raw.
They didn't do Raw. He was gone by like 90.
Yeah.
He was, you know what? He was gone in 89, I think, because that's why they brought in Schiavone. They were like, they brought him in for like SummerSlam 89 or Survivor Series 89, one of those two. And then he was, well, pal, I don't think this is going to work out for you.
We need a union, McMahon.
We need a union, and I've got all these blood clots in my lungs. When I was in Vietnam, I got the blood clots, and wrestling, we need a union. Bye.
Let's get a little Canadian there. Ooh.
He's from Minnesota. He's from Minnesota.
Oh,
He's from Minnesota, so he gets a little Canadian sometimes when he's talking about the union. It's right up there near Canada, Minnesota.
McMahon.
Guys, if you're listening and somehow you've not managed to turn this off, go look on YouTube for any clips of Will Sasso doing Jesse Ventura impressions, and I don't know how you can't laugh at that. He'll just go. He'll be talking about some conspiracy theory and go right into like, I wrestled Bob Backlund at the Philadelphia Spectrum. Just go right into it. It's the best, guys. Go look it up. Well, this will be interesting. I might have to get TNT.
Yeah, we'll have to. All right, so that's enough wrestling. So also I have the WWE Network, and I found what might be the best wrestling show format I've ever seen. Just falling down that rabbit hole on that network.
How did you manage to find anything on the WWE Network?
Right? Terrible interface.
Mhm.
Holy shit. Awful. Menu's bad. Everything's bad. Search is bad. It was on their main page, so I didn't stumble far. I had to scroll like 2 things to the right to find it. But it was a show. It looks like a one-time event in 1986 called Superstars on the Superstation, because it was on TBS.
Wow.
And it was live from the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. It was a Jim Crockett promotion event, so it was NWA. And it was just a hell of a card. I'll go through that here in a second. But what I loved was just the format. Because it was like a 90-minute show, so I'm sure if it was on TV, it was 2 hours. And the show, so right away, it's less than a Raw. And it's like a pay-per-view. Like the card is, it's literally 4 matches. That's how they open it, with like a fancy, like formal intro before they throw it to the assholes ringside, those animals. And they're just like, yep, tonight, it's Superstars on the Superstation. We've got 4 great matchups. And then it would break them down real quick. We got Ric Flair versus this guy, Dusty Rhodes against Tully Blanchard, and boom, boom, boom. And they're talking about the time limits on each one. And I was just like, they're just setting the stage. Like, I'm already hyped because you've mentioned some quality names.
Vince hated that shit.
Yeah, I thought it was great because I know exactly what I'm going to get or what I'm supposed to be getting. We'll see. There's always a fucking schmaz here and there. But I was like, yeah, that's great.
When you watch WrestleMania 3, Jim Ross is like way toned back from regular Jim Ross, because that was one thing that they were worried about. Like, they didn't want him. he's like, I don't want to hear about him wrestling in Oklahoma State, and I don't want to hear that shit. And if you go back to the Steamboat Flair match, he gets like super into their athletic. They're both amateur wrestlers, and he like goes down their records and where they wrestled in college and shit. Like he gets all into that, and I loved it.
That's good stuff. Yeah, tail of the tape. Always a big fan of that. But just it made the show seem so fucking legit, and everyone's like dressed up. It was like a boxing event. I was like, this is awesome. Like they're taking this seriously. Here's what we're going to be giving you. Here are the matches. Here's the time. If there's the time left over, we're going to do this. All right. This is great. The matches though, the Midnight Express defeat the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh,
so we get some Cornette action in that one. That one's fun.
The Battle of the Expresses.
And I didn't know which team was which the whole way. I would have to look at Cornette, and I'm like, well, because he's been with both of them, right?
I don't think so. I think he's just been with the Midnight Express. Yeah.
So that was hard, but it was a decent little match. And JD and I were talking about this because I forgot which Express, but they were like heartthrobs, and women were like, "Woo!" And it's like they're fucking gross.
Yeah. Both of them. Both of those teams are gross.
Everybody with the Freebirds were gross, and the women loved them.
The Rockers, though, that was the thing.
And the Von Erichs. The Von Erichs were decent looking.
Jesus Christ, I'd fuck every one of them.
Road Warriors against Ivan Koloff and Nikita Koloff. Dusty Rhodes against Tully Blanchard, which I wanted to watch that because Tully's in AEW.
Is he?
Hyping up Sean Spears, who's Cody Rhodes' opponent. So I was like, wow, this is exactly the history that they're fucking referring to in this feud. So I was like, I'm going to watch that. Dusty Rhodes, charismatic guy.
I love Dusty Rhodes. Charismatic guy, right.
Charismatic guy. Last match was Ric Flair defeating Ron Garvin. Ronnie
Garvin.
Getting that main event push. So good for him.
What was Flair wearing? Blue trunks, white trunks?
I don't remember the color trunks. I don't think they were red.
He'd mix it up on you a lot.
Yeah, you never could tell. All right, so that's enough wrestling talk. Bailey's in the news this week. She said she wants there to be a Queen of the Ring tournament. Now, I wasn't a huge fan of we're going to do a ladies Royal Rumble. I was like, all right. But Queen of the Ring, I'm on board with that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, anything that brings back King of the Ring. I mean, that's what prompted it. They're doing a King of the Ring tournament right now. She said, let's get a Queen of the Ring tournament. And I think that's a great idea. Why did it take her on social media to say that? Isn't that obvious?
I don't know. It was. I never really thought about it, but it is right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really have a women's division in the prime of King of the Ring. Mm-hmm. You know, they had
there's four.
It would have been like Alundra Blaze against Bull Nakano in the finals.
Luna Vachon.
Oh yeah, she started wrestling.
Then Sherry. That match would have been 2 minutes long.
Yeah. If they went deep like you just suggested, they could have done a 4-person tournament, and the finals would have been Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano.
But I'd love to see a Queen of the Ring tournament these days. They got a nice roster. They don't utilize it very well. Gives them something to do, and you can tell these isolated little stories. Like once they announce King of the Ring, the wrestlers like by themselves have been hyping it. Like they've done a much better job, like promoting their own stories and chasing the crown. I'm chasing the crown. I want to be King of the Ring. All this kind of shit. And I'm like, they're doing a great job. Won't see that on TV, but I'll watch this on their Instagram feed. Fucking WWE.
How often during a championship match these days do they put the champion over for being the champion? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. JD had mentioned the Flair Bret Hart house show title change match, And in that match, because they used to do this all the time, well, that's why he's the champion. You know, like, you're not going to get one over on the champ like that. Is that ever a topic in any match these days? Or do I just miss them all? Because I literally do miss them all, but...
No, they just talk about it like it's an accessory.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's the champion right now. There's no way you can, they don't even try and put the matches over on commentary in it. It's like those little, I don't want to say little, but like the, what'd you call it? Like the limbs, the arms and legs of the whole thing that bother me now. JD and I were talking about promos and how, when did a promo become a guy's music plays, walks out to the ring, talks to the crowd, the music for someone else is going to play. That person's going to like maybe come halfway down the ramp, maybe go all the way in the ring. They're going to talk at each other, and that's it. Like, hey, it's a wrestling ring. We need to wrestle in there. Why is the guy cutting? Why is like Raw open with someone walking out to the ring to not wrestle? It's silly. What happened to promos with like an interviewer backstage, or like the in-ring promos used to be like a run-in and a match would end, and then some heel cuts a promo in the middle of the ring in front of the crowd. It was never like here it comes. This is a pre-planned thing. We know what's about to happen. Like,
there's no stakes. There's no danger. It's like they might get into a scrap, but I mean that's kind of expected.
And it's boring. It's like a silly promo. What happened to some crazy shit would happen, and then Macho Man, what just happened out there? And he's all hot about something, like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good. There's nothing wrong with the pre-tape. Like, here's our interviewer with Ric Flair or Harley Race earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have children nearby, you might want to send them away.
Yeah.
And then you cut to it, and Harley Race is saying some Harley Race shit, and that's fine.
Yeah, it used to be a thing. If a wrestler was standing in the middle of the ring with a microphone, cutting a promo, it was a big deal. Like, it was not normal. It was a special thing. Either something big just happened, or, it was that's pretty much it. Like, it would be like two guys are wrestling, and Hall and Nash come out of the crowd, like beat up the wrestler. Like, it wasn't even that new, which I know that was like 20 years ago, but. I'm not talking about like the 70s. I mean, like, even then it wasn't just let's walk out. Like, promos in the ring used to be a different thing.
Yeah, I think fucking Mid-South did it the best. I love watching that old Jerry Lawler shit, and they'd have that news anchor desk off to the fucking side, and people are always hanging out over there getting into some scraps. Oh shit, you could go to that fucking side of the stage,
or have like have an interview show, have a Piper's Pit or a Brother Love show, like something where there's a purpose for them, some sort of third party doing the interviewing that's not part of the angle.
Yeah,
because otherwise, why? Like, okay, you're a pro wrestler. There's a show booked. You're gonna have a match, and you just walk out to the ring. And JD's like, and the guy just plays his music, like he's in cahoots with the music guy. He just walks out, like when the guy interrupts.
Yeah,
like, hold on, I'm gonna go interrupt this son of a bitch. You hit my music right now. It's just weird. It's just a weird. It's like such a contrived thing now that I can't even get into it. Like,
I'm trying to remember if ECW did that, because there were always run-ins, and obviously in promos someone's going to come out and they're going to fight. Like, obviously with New Jack, if New Jack's doing a run-in, there's music. But I'm trying to think if anybody else got music, because I think they just kind of booked it from the back, and before you know it, they're sliding in the ring, fighting this guy, and it just seems like oh shit.
They used to turn the lights out.
Fuck. I'd always do light stuff.
Fucking Sabu's just in the ring.
But it is more impactful when it seems like, he's really mad. Like, they didn't play his music. There's no fucking showmanship here. It's just he just booked it. Now they're fighting, and I'm uncomfortable by the fight. But then he put him through a table, so I'm excited again. ECW.
JD brought up like another good point he brought up is so many of those interviews at the beginning set up a match later on Raw. Like what you just showed up and didn't have a match that night. Like you just walked out. You just hoped you could walk out in the middle of the ring before Raw, quote unquote, before it starts.
And you could
be like, that's it. I'm calling you out tonight. What were you going to do?
See,
Nothing?
And that's and now compare that, because that's a 15-minute segment.
Yeah,
Stephanie
right.
McMahon comes out, all that bullshit. Whereas superstars on the Superstation, it's like a minute. Hey, welcome to the show. We got this match. Ric Flair wants to come out and address the crowd, aka promo, and we have this match. Like this Raw that I'm watching right now, because we record on Monday nights, they're doing King of the Ring tournament. And if they open up the show saying, welcome to Raw, tonight we've got round 1 of King of the Ring. We're going to see this matchup. Roman Reigns is here tonight. He's pissed off looking for the man that tried to kill him in our murder mystery storyline. We'll have some news with that. Like, just give me a little snippet. Like, just tease me. It's a fucking tease. But what do? The 15, 20-minute opening segment so they can naturally put the match together on the show. It's like, you don't need to. You can do it in 5 seconds. Just tell me that's the match that was made.
Like the keyfabe of it. You have a wrestling company.
Show.
You went to you have a Raw in a city and you didn't have matches to book. Like you were just gonna set up your set for Raw and just hope someone wanted to go cut a promo. It's just weird. It's bizarre. Just open the show, have a match to open it or something. It's.
I can't wait to see how AEW does it.
I hope they don't just try and copy WWE. Please.
They've they've announced TV dates. Like, all right, we're gonna be in Philly for this TV taping, this event. I think it's live.
Okay.
But they've booked matches. Like, hey, if you're going to the North Carolina show, you're gonna see this guy versus that guy. So they're starting to do it. They're starting to fill out the dates and the booking of those events. Even if like they don't really have anything storyline wise, that's like, well, we announced that, so we better have something. And that's good, because if I lived in North Carolina and they're like, you get to see Kenny Omega against this other fucking guy, I'd be like, I'm so excited. I know that's 3 months away, but I'm hyped. Just it's easy. Instead of just AEW's coming to town, it might be good. We'll see when we get there. Which is
I'm excited for that, because it sounds like they are doing some things that really do harken back to like the golden age, like the pre-WWF, just sort of territory TV things. And now, God, man, announcing matches that are going to happen in advance, because like making the wrestling a thing.
Mm-hmm. They're treating each show like not a pay-per-view event, but like this is like, we're going to be in your town. These guys are going to do some shit. Like, this is an event. This isn't a house show. This isn't just, hey, we're here to do our fucking TV program. It's like, nope. AEW's coming, and there's some stuff that goes along with that. The storylines are going to be moving. Feuds are going to be building. And it's just nice. There's going to be growing pains along the way with them, obviously, Tony Schiavone. But we'll see. We'll see. And next week's their big pay-per-view, and then right to television the next month, I think. But Jim, that is enough wrestling talk. We're 40 minutes into the fucking show. That's enough of that. Vince McMahon was in the news this week.
What happened with Vince McMahon?
Because of the XFL.
Someone suing? Is some old lawsuit coming up or something?
No, they released the team names and the logos. Now, we can't do the logos because we're audio podcast. But we can at least go over the names. I didn't look at this beforehand because I was so fucking excited. And people's responses were fucking hyped, and I was like, all right, these are going to be terrible names. Once again, not a lot of teams because it's the XFL, but we're going to be getting the Dallas Renegades, It's not bad. That's a nice
That-
Texas name.
Yeah,
The Dallas
Okay.
Renegades.
that's not bad. That's not bad. I want to hear the other ones though.
I think this other one kind of goes in. It ties in with the city theme. The DC Defenders. Yeah, DC. Defenders. Fucking Texas gets 2 teams. The Houston Roughnecks.
That is okay. I love that one.
I am a big fan of the Houston Roughnecks.
The Houston Roughnecks.
I want to see what this logo looks like for this Roughnecks. I hope it's just a neck. No, it's a fucking like oil thing, like the Oilers. God damn it. We also have the LA Wildcats.
Queens. Oh.
Wildcats.
Okay. That's sort of a high school name, but whatever.
It really is. It's very minor league. The New York Guardians.
I don't. The DC Defenders, at least you got some alliteration there with the D and the Defenders. New York Guardian.
Yeah.
What's Guardians? Defenders? What the?
Yeah.
The Defenders? The Guardian? They're just
The
picking
Guardians.
Marvel names.
Well,
The Miami X-Men.
Seattle gets a pretty cool name here. The Seattle
Fantastic
Dragons.
Four. Oh. The Seattle Dragons. Okay.
Dragons.
I get
That's-
that.
You've won best name
You got
of the
and
league.
you got a large Asian contingent up there,
You know, LA's like we couldn't be the LA Dragons. Is
right?
there already an LA Dragons that we can't do this? Surprised Seattle got that bump.
Seattle Dragons is just cool.
Super, yeah. It's on jerseys and all that shit. You know, the color scheme's got red in there, maybe some red and black. You
Isn't
know,
there-
it looks?
Isn't there an Overwatch
good.
Dragons team?
I think there is. There is.
We need more dragons. That's just a
Yeah.
badass name for any team. Who are you?
Oh man,
We're the Defenders. Oh yeah, we're the Dragons.
who do we
Oh,
play? The
fuck.
Dragons.
Yeah. Oh
Fuck.
shit.
Shit.
It's what everyone wants to be on the Chinese calendar. You're the dragon. I'm a fucking rat. You're the rat, Dale.
I am. The St. Louis Battlehawks. Battlehawks
that's
versus the Dragons.
That's kind of a cool name, but it just doesn't.
It's too fifth
It's
grade.
too, yeah. Like I would come up with that.
It's my SOCOM clan name. Hey guys,
We're the Battlehawks.
we're the Battlehawks. Change your clan tag. You didn't change your clan tag yet. Why didn't you change your clan tag? Last team.
The Death Valley Undertakers.
No, but this one does have wrestling undertones to it. The Tampa Bay Vipers. Randy Orton's
Oh
the
yeah,
Viper.
what a wrestling
Oh, yeah.
undertone.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Vipers. Yeah. So those are the team names. Texas gets 2 teams. We don't get anything this go because what did we have? The Chicago Rush last time, or was that was that an Arena League team?
That
I
was
don't know.
Arena. That was Arena League.
Okay.
It was the Chicago
we had something.
Enforcers, wasn't it?
That sounds right.
Or is that basketball? I don't know. Yeah, I wonder what kind of trouble, like not trouble, but I wonder what kind of roadblocks they run into with what they can use. Because I was thinking, like, would be Tampa Bay would be a cool one. It'd be like a Cougars or a Panthers. Like, oh, you can't do that shit. I can't do Panthers. It's already an NFL team. I'd be like, what's your XFL team going to be? The Chicago Bears.
It was Chicago Enforcers for the XFL.
Okay, cool.
Man, what a strange time.
Now, what is the basketball team I'm thinking of? The one with Joey Diaz is in the movie. He's on the team when they're trying to psych him out. It's like the New Jersey fucking knee busters or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that. So that's my wrestling chunk. Now we can get this show started. Get
I
this
had a
thing
show. I had a show with Dad Bod on Saturday.
Dead Bod?
It went really well. It was awesome. It was at Beer Geeks, so it was great. And Jason from Beer Geeks, the owner there, is a huge Kiss fan. And we've already played there a couple times. And every time, he's like, you guys play any Kiss? We're like, no, but
Still no.
maybe we will. And then the next show came, and then we tried to like impromptu, and that didn't work. So I said, guys, I know it's a week away. This was at 350. We got to play a Kiss song for Jason. We've been telling him we're going to do it. Let's do it. Here's the ones we know. We ended up doing 2. We did Hard Luck Woman, which is a Peter Criss sings that one, which is odd. And then we did Beth, which Peter Criss also sings. We did 2. And I think he enjoyed it. It was fun. It was cool to, we did those just for him. Fuck everybody else. Jason gets we're playing him 2 Kiss songs. So he enjoyed it. He had a good time. He's always really good to us. This guy bought me a drink. He had a drink, and I took a sip of it, which was weird. But it was tasty, and it was called a gin and chronic.
Gin and chronic?
It was like gin and juice, beer? I guess. No, it was a drink, a mixed drink. Then he bought me one, but he tried to give me the drink while I'm singing and playing the guitar. So back in the Blackened days, the good old days of Blackened, someone would bring me a drink. Unfortunately, much to my chagrin, I did not drink at that point in my life. I could have gotten so many free drinks, and I would just have to, I could nod to them and I could tell them, I don't drink, but you know what, he drinks, or why don't you give it to her? This time, not only am I playing guitar, my hands are full. I can't talk. I'm in the middle of singing lyrics to a song. So I'm just with my eyes in my head, just giving him the set it on the ground next to me, and he's not getting it. And then he's starting to get mad, and he's keeps trying to hand it to me. And I'm just with my head down there. And he just got pissed. And he waited until the song was over, and then I took it. And I'm like, dude, I'm busy. I'm not even being an asshole at this point in the show. Do you really want me to stop the song to take the drink that I have nothing to set it on? I'd have to get up out of my chair and take it and set it on the floor. Or do you want me to stop singing to tell you, hey, can you just put it on that table over there? Instead, he didn't get shitty with me, but you could tell he was frustrated with the scenario. What the fuck is wrong with you? I will tell you this, though.
He's invested. He's I'm in too deep. I can't get out of this one.
The Dad Bod beer was fucking awesome. If you guys didn't know, there is a beer called Dad Bod that I don't remember the name of the brewer. They're from Indianapolis. And Jason ordered some of it to have on tap for when we play because our band name is Dad Bod. And it was awesome. Delicious. It was so good.
What was it? Was it an IPA?
It was a double
Belgian ale.
It was a double. What did he call it? A double something. New England double something or other. I don't know, but
double.
It was good, man. It was so good. And then I had a little of that gin and chronic. It was an awesome show. Thank you if you guys are listening and you came out. Thanks for coming out to see us. It was really, really good. It was a great show.
Sweet.
I wanted to get
shows
that out there.
On the horizon.
Yes. We do have another show coming up. Now, there are 2 18th Street breweries. And
this shit again.
I was gonna say, that this should happen before, okay? But there are 2 18th Street breweries. There's one in Hammond, and there's one in Gary. Now, the one in Gary, this is gonna sound like I'm making this up just to get people to come to the show. It's actually in a nice area of Gary, right by Miller Beach. It's right off of Miller Avenue. That show is coming up in a couple of weeks. That one's on a Saturday. Saturday, September 7th.
That's a busy day.
18th Street.
18th. I'm putting it on my calendar. 18th
Yeah, why don't you go put it on there? I'll see you out in Gary.
I got a fishing derby that morning,
In
and it's
Gary?
Oktoberfest in Tinley, and I have work, and there's a dad bod show, so I'm gonna be a busy boy.
There is.
I'm tired.
We only played that. We played the bigger 18th Street twice, and only this one once. But this one was like it was a surprise show. We got there and set up, and it's like, why are they even having a band in here? It's like weird. It's small, like little place. Is anyone gonna show up? There was a band across the street at a pizza place, outdoor, like 5-piece band on this little tiny stage. I thought like, man, we're not gonna outdraw them. And it was packed, and everyone had a really good time.
Sweet.
It's awesome. It's big out there in the summer, like right in that Miller Beach area. They have a lot of outdoor stuff, so this is like their end of summer is coming up. I'll have more details next week about that show.
Any Bold Hearts updates?
No.
My Bold Heart.
Nope.
All right. We'll stay tuned to that
stay
one.
tuned. There will be. I assure
Change the channel.
You're not going to want to miss this one. But there are going to be updates to talk about. There just aren't yet. How do you like that?
I do like that, Jim. I like that very much. I'm looking at my notes, and I'm trying to pick which one of these 12 fucking items to even bring to the table here.
It wasn't my idea to talk about wrestling for 48 minutes.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you could have fucking restrained yourself. They are making Matrix 4.
I
Sure you've
heard about this. Yes, I did.
I don't know. I don't know.
I do. They're making it.
They haven't made a good movie since the first Matrix.
The Wachowski sisters?
The Wachowskis. It's Keanu Reeves is back. Carrie-Anne Moss is back.
Here's the thing about that,
which is good. That's very good.
That's good.
But it looks like it's gonna be some handing the torch, new character sort of thing, building a new universe, franchise, trilogy, whatever. And I'm good. I think I'm good.
Doesn't Trinity die?
I believe so.
Okay.
I wanna
Doesn't
say
he
more
die?
than that.
Doesn't he like blow himself up to save the?
Yeah, I thought it was something like that.
Okay. But here's another thing that I wanted to bring up. When they say they're both returning, obviously, that's a good thing. But, and I'm not saying they're doing this, but I think people are like, oh, it's so cool that they're back. As if they made more Matrix movies, like it's Star Wars, like they're bringing the originals back. Like they were in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Like for the good and the bad. They were in all of those. So it's not as if to say just because they're in it, it's going to be good. Like, oh, well, they're back. It's going to be good again.
But it definitely gives you more hope.
Certainly.
Than if I said they're making Matrix 4 and nobody from the original movies are going to be in it.
Of course. But when people, I don't know, I just get the feeling that people say that they're coming back like they were there and it was good, and then they made some with like it's Fast and the Furious and like, oh,
like I'm back to save it,
right?
Like in Matrix 3 Revelations,
right? You were in all of them. You were in the ones that sank the ship. 2 and 3 was just. God,
I would like to see them try, because even though it had been done before, the bullet time shit, they really kind of nailed it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him try again. Like, push that technology, give James Cameron a fucking call, borrow some weird cameras, do some weird shit, and change the game again. Change the game.
How deep?
Don't just give me the same shit.
Do you think they're just gonna go black and green on us again and just try and like a fucking nostalgia trip, or do you think they're gonna try and push the envelope of what the Matrix will have become at this point?
Probably both, because that's where the money is. But yeah, you
it's
you
down
start
here
there,
somewhere.
you do all that,
look.
and then fucking they expand, and we get that color shift, and fucking Dorothy's not in Kansas anymore.
Man, what if they hit us with some shit like, no, that was the Matrix. Inside of the Matrix. Like
Everything
Neo
the
thought
past 23.
what we did is we tricked Neo into thinking he was rebelling, and that was just all part of his fantasy, man, bro.
He's been locked up this whole time. I don't know.
This whole time he's
This
just been
whole
working
time.
in an office, and it
He's
sucks.
still in the office. Yep.
Like that, the real Matrix is you're working for this giant corporation doing this soul sucking job that you hate. So we give you this fucking Total Recall fantasy that you're like you're in this Matrix, man. But really, he's just like at his desk crunching numbers.
Recall. Those fucking guys. I love that actor in Total Recall. That guy's fucking great.
Well, like, wasn't that one of his construction pals?
Yeah, and he's just like his assignment is to keep him fucking from smartening up about recall. He's like, that's all bullshit, but murdered recall. And he's so fucking New York. He plays for the New York Defenders.
Recall. For the New York X-Men. That was sort of Matrix-y before Matrix.
A little bit.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, we got to
Yeah.
keep him. We can't have him. Can't have him freaking out. Can't have him figuring
What's
out.
real?
And then you're like, what's real? Whereas in the
real?
Matrix, they sort of they didn't play with that too much. They were like, no, this is what's real. This is the real world.
The audience member always. Some of the characters didn't know a lot of the times.
Right.
The audience knew. But
But
Total Recall, there are times where we're like, we don't know either.
I don't
bro."
think the writers knew.
No, they did not. And he's gone back on that shit so many times it amaze me.
Really?
Yeah. He's just like, it was a recall, it wasn't, it was this and that. It's like, all right.
I think in some back room when they're writing it, they're like, fucking doesn't matter if it is or not. No one's going to know. Just let's get this done.
Same shit with, like, what was it, Blade Runner? It's like,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a replicant. It's like, oh, whatever you want. Stop. Just leave. Get out of my room. Hey, he was a replicant. Leave. I've got a restraining order.
Now, they did some shit with Supernatural where at some fan convention, they asked, I don't know if it was Kripke, one of the... Eric Kripke, he's one of the showrunner guys. They asked him, is the prophet Chuck, is he God? And at this point, he'd been dead on the show, and they're like way past that. Like they were on season 8, and this was season 5 stuff. And he's like, I mean, we didn't come right out and say it, but basically, yes, he was God. And then they brought him back. So they had said this publicly at this convention. And
Cat's
then
out of the bag.
And then, like 5 seasons later, they just bring him back for like a little scene at the end of this one episode. So then everyone's like, he's back, and we know he's God now. And then they brought him full back as God.
As God?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering.
Yep. And the last
Like,
season
commit to the
ended
bit.
with him as God, as the fucking villain.
Oh,
Supernatural will go so hard on you that they're like, no, it's all about these Winchester boys. No, God's a bad guy because he's against them. They are always over. Doesn't matter who they're wrestling, pal.
They're the face.
What if they're
Sorry.
wrestling God? Nope, they're the face. So
God,
this
you're gonna have
last
to count
season,
the lights.
this last season is so he'd be like in and out, here and there, and he still goes by Chuck, even though he's like, just call me Chuck. Like he still plays the writer prophet
I
character.
can still see his face perfectly in my mind. He's got a very recognizable face.
And they would bring him back here and there, and then he would just disappear. And that was sort of like one of his flaws. Like, yeah, all this shit is going down, and then he's nowhere to be found. Like, he's nowhere. He doesn't want to help us. And then the last one ends where he, like, forces some shit to happen that he wanted to happen, which, like, he never, ever does. But it's bad things. And then you're like, ooh, fuck this guy. Wait, am I saying fuck God? Like, this is weird saying that. And, man, this last season is just them versus God. Like, how do you going out with a bang? Can the Winchester boys beat God?
I like how we started at Matrix 4 and Jim got us to fucking
I did.
Supernatural.
I did. I did. But I mean, we got there because we talked about the writers talking about shit and wanting to tell
Total
you
Recall.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supplicants.
So we'll see what happens with Matrix 4. It's one of those I'll go see it. I'm not going to get hyped either way. It just seems unnecessary a little bit. Don't really understand it. But if they've got a good story to tell, then tell it. I hope
Maybe it'll
that's
be
the case
fun.
where they're like, we've been sitting on this for a while. It's the best story. We just had to wait for the actors to get a little older to tell it. And I'm like, oh shit, that would actually get me quite excited. But it just feels like, yeah, our schedules line up for this. Let's make Matrix 4.
And we needed Keanu Reeves to go away and then come back and be a badass and be like a pop culture icon again.
God.
Because he sure did that. You cannot tell me that him being such a giant cock, just a throbbing member of joy in John Wick has nothing to do with them doing another Matrix. I refuse to believe it.
That's why they're like, Bill and Ted, huh?
Right. So it's like what's old is new again. I love that. He goes away for a while and then he does these what started out as just sort of like a little action like subgenre thing. It wasn't like they built it up like Mission Impossible or something. It was just like, yeah, you seen this John Wick movie? And then once everyone saw it, they're like, God damn. And now they're like, yeah, let's bring all your properties back.
You know what John Wick is? It's a Nick Cage movie if everyone was talented. Like, it easily could have gone the way of one of those fucking nameless Nick Cage movies where it's like, I gotta get my daughter back. Fuck. But it's like everybody with John
I bet he
Wick,
doesn't even have any of those. We're just like overlaying that on him.
He does. I'm pretty sure he does.
We Mandela'd the shit out of Nick Cage.
So yeah, Matrix 4. All right, let's plug it up and get out of here. Unless you got anything more, but I can bring these other topics next.
No, we'll bring
week.
it. We'll bring it hard next week.
And some new topics too. It's gonna be nuts. So let's plug it up. Follow me on the Instagram at Dale Zawada. You're already subscribed to the podcast. You can rate and review it. Rate and review the podcast.
Yes.
I've got a lot of those. That always helps. And yeah, that'll do it for me.
You can follow me on Instagram at JamesJRMusic. You can follow my band Dad Bod on Facebook, facebook.com/DadBodLive. And that's it.
That'll do it for episode 86. Thanks for listening. I'm the Chicago Enforcers.
I'm Jesse the Body Ventura from Minnesota.
McMahon.
McMahon.